I'd like to also dedicate this year for all Am Yisrael. It's a special time for Am Yisrael. We're in the middle of a war. There has been major loss for Am Yisrael. Many young soldiers, good tzaddikim boys. We don't understand the ways of Hashem, and there's been also in Yerushalayim. It's heartbreaking to see, the families and the broken up. What can you say to them? How can you console them? And I would like to dedicate this shiur for all those who passed away, all the soldiers at war, all those who are in Gaza now. And at the same time, there are a lot of miracles, and a lot of soldiers are telling stories of miracles. A lot of civilians are saying stories of miracles. There are a lot of successes also within the war. And our, let's say, our mission, or let's say what we need to do, our job, is at the time of Hanukkah, we're celebrating at the same time, Hanukkah. So it's not a regular Hanukkah where you're just enjoying your donuts. This is a Hanukkah where it's very meaningful, and it's to look and to see the light within the darkness. That is basically summarizing, and that's I want to give the title of this year, to seeing the light within the darkness. This is not the first war of Am Yisrael. This is, in fact, we had many wars, and especially at this time, we make that bracha, right? You made that bracha tonight when you lit your menorah, right? That means God did for our fathers miracles in these days. And this time, this is a very special time. This is a very special time for Am Yisrael to be in a war. And we have to appreciate that time and say the prayer. I started off the shiur with the Perek Tehillim. There's not many of us, but we still have a power of tefillah. Even three of us in a shiur, even on Zoom. But especially at this time, any time of Hanukkah, especially at the time when you're lighting the candles, to see the light within the darkness and to light up Am Yisrael, to give up our job of what it is to bring to the world. And we will see great miracles. This is an amazing opportunity and time to win the war. We've had already a 6-day war triumph. Maybe we're going to have an 8-day war triumph, or maybe Hashem is going to do us a miracle in 1 day, 8 days of work. But it's a very special time. A very special time. And maybe I'll say the pasuk from. We say a pasuk by when we like. We say the pasuk of Yeshev Beseter Elyon. Yeshev Beseter Elyon. That was a question to the. Yeah, you say that?
What was the question?
By the Nawat Chanukah?
Yeah.
Some people have a minhag after you do.
No, I didn't know that.
Okay, so it's brought down. The Ben Ish Chai brings it. You don't have to say it, but it's a good pasuk perek to say. It's perek 91 in Tehillim. Yosher Beset Elyon. Basically, Hashem hides up above, and anyone who takes refuge in Hashem, Hashem will be his protection. That's what the pasuk says. And it says Hashem will save you. He will save you from all the dangers, from all the traps that they set up for you. Very relevant to nowadays. Don't be scared from the afraid of the night. Even from the artillery that is fired during the day, missiles and rockets. So don't worry about it. Even if they will fall 1,000, 10,000 on your left, on your right, no one's going to touch you. You can be safe. This is the pasuk which we read. You'll see with your eyes how the wicked will be punished. Okay, so when you think about what is, sorry?
Surely that depends on, you can't just say that perek and hope for the,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You say that perek, you hope for the best because you will power of tefillah. You're not just saying it as a commemoration. It's not just a verbal act. You have to remember, you are not just Joe and Hari. You are Yosef ben Abraham. You have a neshama. Ner. Why do you say Ner Chanukah? Right? It should be, Norot Chanukah or Menorat Chanukah. Ner represents Nun and Resh. Ner. Okay? Ner stands for Nefesh and Ruach, or Neshama and Nefesh and Ruach. You are made up of a soul. You have a Jewish soul. You have a Neshama that part of you is part of God. Okay, that's also what we explain to your children. Inside of you, you have a Neshama. So that is Ner Chanukah, is your Neshama and your Ruach lighting up. So when you say the words of Yeshev Seter Elyon, it's your Neshama saying that. And when your Neshama is saying that, that's as if, part of God is saying that. You bring it into existence. God is existence. You're saying these psukim, it's just tefillah. Yeah, no, give 100 goyim to say that. It's not like just one Jew saying it. 1,000 goyim doesn't make it. It's not the same. It's not a microphone speaking. It's a Jewish neshama speaking. You've got to realize that and internalize that every time you are opening up a siddur. Am I making sense here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we say that with our times of lighting the candles, this is a big moment for Am Yisrael to win the war. And win it and be triumphant and very soon. And at the end of the war, we're looking forward to welcome Mashiach. That's what we want to be. That's the big aim. What did I want to say? I want to say another thing. Yeah, the purpose of the Milchemet of Gog and Magog is two purposes. One purpose is to differentiate those who have emunah in Hashem and then those who don't have emunah in Hashem. And the other one of the purposes, as I've said this before, is to punish those who are going against Am Yisrael. Hashem is going to take care of everybody. So I wanted that opening. I would like to start the shiur with a halacha. Tomorrow is going to be Friday night, Erev Shabbat. What do you like first? Candles of Hanukkah and candle for Shabbat?
You could do either or.
Either or. Excuse me. Do you want to explain yourself?
So we don't generally we like we do the mitzvah of what is more common. So we like Shabbat candles every week. We don't do Hanukkah.
Yes. Very good.
What did I read?
Okay, Meir, do you want to comment? What do you like first, Shabbat or Hanukkah?
Oh, well, my son says he wants to comment.
Yeah, go on, let him speak up.
Go on.
The rule is to light the Shabbat candles first because one Shabbat is in, you're not allowed to kindle a light and lighting the menorah.
Shabbat candles first?
Yeah. No, you have to light the menorah. You have to light the menorah light first because the one 39 minutes of Shabbat is kindling a light. And once you light the Shabbat candles if you light the Shabbat candles before lighting the menorah candles, and you light the menorah candles after, you are desecrating Shabbat and kindling a light. So you light the menorah candles after.
All right.
Excellent. Wait, what's your name? What's your name?
Avi.
Avi, how old are you, Avi?
11.
Excellent. Okay, so you just explained very nicely halachically, okay, why we light first the Hanukkah and then Shabbat. Because once you bring in Shabbat, you can't light the Hanukkah candle. So that's a very simple halachic reason, and you explained that beautifully, Avi. I'm going to give you now another reason, which is maybe a deeper reason, according to the remez of Chassidut, of Torah Pnimiyut, which is the deeper reason behind the Torah. When we light the candles of Shabbat, we bring in Shabbat. Okay, so now the Shabbat is the light of Me'en Olam Haba. That is Shabbat, the day Yom Shekulo Shabbat. What does Yom Shekulo Shabbat mean? What's that referring to? Olam Haba. Olam Haba is Yom Shekulo Shabbat, right? So when we have our Shabbat, it's 1/60th of Olam Haba. That's a beautiful day full of light. Everything is amazing. You see all the beauty in everything that you've had in your life. There is no darkness. Once you've lit in the light of Shabbat, it says that all the worlds have just come up, and you just see it's the day of the King. It's the day of Hashem. Shabbat Malketa comes in. He said there's no darkness. When Shabbat comes in, you don't do any malacha, but because it's the full day of the light of Olam Haba, there's no darkness. The whole purpose of Hanukkah is to light within the darkness. So according to that, you have to light first Hanukkah first. You got to light a little bit within the darkness, light up the Hanukkah. Only then you can light Shabbat. And then it comes full light. Then there is no darkness. So if that makes sense in that term, we understand what purpose of Hanukkah is. To see the Yeshua, the Chamot, the Yeshuot. You actually see Hashem in every stage. See all the goodness what Hashem does. That's the purpose of Hanukkah. Now with that, I would like to start off the first idea on this week's Parasha. Okay.
Can I pause you 1 second, Rabbi?
Yeah.
So just I can't remember if I read what I read with regards to lighting the Hanukkah candles before Shabbat, but after Shabbat, I read that you can light the Hanukkah candles before Havdalah, so that we prolong Shabbat, in order that we can prolong Shabbat.
So you're gonna have to show me to me where you saw that. Okay, you find it for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so because the minhag is that first on a Friday night we light first Chanukah and then Shabbat. Motzei Shabbat first we do Havdalah and then we light the menorah.
Okay. I'll share it with you later.
Yeah, please find it for me. I'm happy.
But they're quotes of Chachamim.
Okay, no, very good. I'm happy to discuss it. Just to show me the source. Okay, I can understand it. Sometimes there's a small difference which makes it understandable or very easy for me to explain or to understand. Okay, so
I'm just going to prolong. Sorry, I know you got shiur prepared.
It's okay.
I took to put myself when you said to read halach, to spend a few more minutes with your tefillin on.
Yeah,
and read.
Good job. Good job.
This wasn't with my tefillin on, but I took upon myself to read it. I subscribe to halacha every day.
Oh, excellent.
So I get a WhatsApp message every day with the halacha. It's great.
From who?
It's from who?
Yeah.
It's called Halacha Yomit, and it's a nice halachot, daily halachot.
I just want to make sure it's kosher.
Oh yeah. I will forward it to you.
Halacha Yomit, I think, is based on Rav Adja. I think it's by somebody. Yeah, I think it's someone who it's been going for a few years.
It's American, it's an American.
Okay.
917. Plus, I think it's an American number.
Okay.
But I'll forward it to you.
Yeah, that'll be nice. That'll be nice to share with me. Okay, I want to give you an interesting observation. This week's parasha is very unusual that every single pasuk on this week's parasha starts with the same letter. Every single pasuk starts with the same letter, apart from 8 psukim.
8 days of Hanukkah.
Right, so that's already an excellent observation. You made 8 days of Hanukkah. But what's all the other letters? It's the same letter. Which letter? Vav. It's a letter Vav. Now that happens again one time in Tanakh, and that is the book of Ruth. Vav. So what's the conjunction of all the Vavs? Vav, 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 Vav. Vav. So Vav, there's actually a word which says, it's brought down in the Gemara. Vav is referring to Vai. Now Vai is just an expression of like Oy vey, Oy vey, or it's an expression of expressing something bad happened. And if you look at from the parasha, just from the beginning, Yosef is hated by his brothers, he's jealous, he's thrown in a pit, he's sold to the Egyptians, he's sold to Potiphar, gets put in jail, gets attacked, and they want to kill him. Just everything's going haywire, like the whole thing. And Yosef is starts as innocent, young, orphaned child, lost his mom, and then everything goes bad. He ends up in prison. And that is the whole parasha. This week's Parashat Vayeshev, and also all Torot. there's also bad things happen. There was a famine, and there was a, they have to leave the country. Then Naomi, her husband died, her two sons died. They're left poorless, penniless. They come back. All things happen, and it just seems bad, right? Like if you're watching the news reports in this week's Parasha, it's bad stuff. Even Yehuda, his first son died, his second son died. He doesn't want to let his third son get married because it's bad things happening in this Parasha. That's what it seems. But both in this week's Parasha and in the Sefer Ruth, it's Mashiach in the making. David HaMelech is being born. And at the end of this week's Parasha, Yosef ends up king of Egypt. And that's, the beginning of him going down. So whenever you think things are going bad, you've got to remember that Hashem is running the world. And this is the time when even where you can't see Hashem, it's not because it's so small, but it's because it's so big, he's hiding. And that's the way to describe it. You can understand it for yourself. Sometimes you see Hashem, you see the hand of God, you see how he acts, and you only see the picture at the end. And sometimes Hashem is in hiding. And that is the job of Hanukkah, to see Hashem, the light of Hashem, even within the darkness. And I'll just give you one small example. When Yosef HaTzadik, when he gets sold, Rashi says this. Who does he get sold to? Karavi, speak up. Huh?
Pharaoh.
Before he gets Pharaoh. He gets sold 4 times.
He gets sold to an Arab.
He gets sold to an Arab, yeah. He gets sold from Arab to Arab, from the Midyanim to the Madanim to Mitzrayim. He gets 4 times he's sold. Different Rishonim who he gets sold to. He just turns over. But who are the merchants that take him down? The Ishmaelim he gets sold to. Who takes him down to Mitzrayim? Which merchants? No, they or Avi. So the Ishmaelim take him, and Rashi says they were carrying besamim. Okay, basically perfume sellers. That's what they were selling, right? Now, if you ever been to a perfume shop, it's a nice smelling shop, right? And he said, what was this for? So usually Ishmael, what they sell, they just sell neft, petrol, right? Very smelly oil, right? That's what they sell. So how come here you have Ishmaelim selling perfume? He said that was for Yosef HaTzadik, which means like this. Hashem, he needed to get Yosef from where he was living down to Egypt, from Israel, okay? And that was from part of the purpose of the great picture of going down to Egypt. But how did he do that? He said, I don't have to make it smelly for him. I can make it nice for him. I can make it smelling nice. And Rashi points that out. He said, that's what we need to do. In Hanukkah, you need to look at all the bad things that you got in your personal life. I think Hashem is running all of them, and all for good reason. And all the oivai is oivai. Don't stop blaming people. It's Hashem. And look for the good things, the things that smell nice. And say that's also Hashem. And that's an example to see how everything is Hashem. And that's going to get you through it. And I'm going to show you. This is the story. I've verified of this authenticity. Okay, there was a couple married in Israel. Okay, and I know a person involved in this personally. For I don't know, for a period of years, I don't know, they didn't have any children, and they tried everything medically and non-medically. And it's a torture. It's experience. Nobody wants to experience that. It's a lot of disappointments, trying things, get your hopes up, nothing was going. Okay, so this is the story how, and I can verify the story. He, the father of the lady, who was having trouble having children, he comes into the synagogue and his friend sees him. He says, "Why are you looking so down?" He says, "What can I say? My daughter, she really wants to have children. She's tried everything and nothing's going for her. And I really wish that, she could get what she wants. And it's every human person would want to have their children. And it's not going for him." So he says, "Listen, excuse me for saying this. I didn't want to butt in, but you've mentioned it. So I'm gonna you brought up, I'm gonna say." He says, "Well, what do you have to say?" So listen, your son-in-law, okay, he's a nice guy. He's a good guy. But you know that he was engaged beforehand. And he was engaged to be married, and he broke off the engagement. Now, it could be that the person who broke off the engagement got upset, maybe it was done in the right way, maybe didn't ask for forgiveness. Maybe that's what's holding him back. And he said, really? What do you mean? You really think so? I said, listen, check it out. He said, I didn't have no idea that my son-in-law broke off an engagement. You got to appreciate it that every girl, from the age of 5 is, looking forward to getting married. And after she's engaged and has excitement to get married and then it gets broken off, it's heartbreaking. Yeah. Especially for his non-explained reason, whatever it was. So he asked his khatan, is this true? He said, listen, it was a few years ago. The day after I got engaged, I found out some terrible piece of information about the color. And I asked my Rosh Yeshiva. My Rosh Yeshiva said I should break it off. He said, listen, but did you do it in a nice way? Did you apologize? Did you ask for forgiveness? Did you ask for mechila? He says, what do you mean? I said, I'm sorry. But did she mochel you? Did she say, I'm mochel, I forgive you? I don't know. So she said, I'm going to find out. So they did some phone calls. They found out that this girl that was broken off, she was still unmarried. And because it was broken off engagement, so everyone was trying to find out about her. Said, why she's still single? She's still old. And she had a broken engagement. So everyone thought there's something wrong with her. That someone broke off and no one doesn't want to marry her. And she thinks that everyone's like bad mouthing around her, spreading bad rumors of why the engagement was broken off. She was still single. She had a younger sister that was like waiting for her to get married, also still single, and had another sister that was also waiting. So kids are 3 of them, all waiting to get married, and the whole life they're just blaming this guy that he broke off the engagement is now spreading bad rumors about him. So now when he says, listen, please forgive me, what was their response? That was like, no, she was like, no way we're going to forgive you, not now and not ever. It's like, because of you we're all suffering, we're all still single, and there's like no way, and I think it was that the father said, listen, but have rachamim, they don't have any children. So what? They don't deserve it. Look what he's done to us. We're all here because of him, and they're blaming it. It was very difficult to accept for both sides. So the wife, she herself called up, and he said, listen, I don't know what my husband did, and I understand you're very upset about it, but listen, what about me? I've done nothing. I had no idea. We've been years trying, only to forgive us. And he said, listen, we can't. And he said, listen, you can't just come over the phone and just apologize. So he said, listen, we really mean it. We want forgiveness. So we're willing to pay for it as a compensation to show how much we really regret it. We want to give you a nice sum of money. Now, he didn't say how much money they gave, but they gave enough amount of money. Obviously you can't pay for a person's pain, but if you're showing that you're willing to give money, it shows that you really regret it. And there is some comfort in having a nice amount of money put into your account. Okay, so that helped them to forgive it. And they said, okay, we're willing to forgive, and they signed a document of forgiveness. They say, she signed it, her sister signed it, her next sister signed it. Now, within 1 month, the younger sister, she got engaged. 2 months later, the second one, she got engaged. Within 4 months, the first oldest one, she got engaged. And after 4 months, so there's like a 3 months, I don't know, a couple of months till she got married. After she got married, okay, so basically a couple of months later, the couple naturally conceived. Now, this is 100% proven story. I can tell you details. I can give you the phone numbers if you want to actually find out more. But this is an unbelievable story. Now, what I want to see from this, I want to bring out just 2 points. Okay, number one is we don't know. Everything is conducted bin Hashemayim. You see that clearly. It was a turnover. 3 of them not married after for many years. The couple have no kids. Okay, and then boom, 1, 2, 3 all get engaged and they have kids. What's going on over here? So we see that a person's got to be careful that other people don't have any. How do you say in English? Akbadot. Again, please speak up.
I don't think anyone said anything.
Okay, that it shouldn't have any akbada.
Ties, bad ties, negative ties.
Yeah, but no, a negative ties. Someone shouldn't have a bad grudge or bad feelings against you. And here you see that when they ask for forgiveness, you see how important it is to ask for forgiveness for other people's feelings. But even more than that, you see what was holding them back from being engaged. Well, they didn't do anything. All they did was apologize to someone else. So you see here, and this is a tremendous lesson for us, that when a person holds a grudge back against someone else and blames someone else, he's punishing himself. When they were ready to let go, and they were right, they were rightfully bearing a grudge. He had to pay for his forgiveness. But it was only once they forgave others, then they saw that bracha coming from themselves, and they themselves got married. All the girls were blaming this guy. That's why. So everything is min Hashemayim. That's what you got to see. We have a mitzvah of Kriyat Shema Le'mikah every night. There's one instance we say Hareini mochel v'solech, which means I forgive anyone who's done me wrong. No one should be punished because of me. But here we see from this story that it's not only no one should be punished because I don't forgive them, but I have a necessity to let go and understand that. And if anybody wronged me, I forgive them because it's not them, it's Hashem. And this is this parasha. All the vavs of the vais, it's nothing bad happening to you. It's God just laying the table. And then you've got to look for the good parts, the 8 days, the 8 psukim, which don't have a vav, and look for the light in the darkness. And you've got to thank Hashem for it. Just be ready to let go and forgive others. When you forgive others, you see that Hashem is there, and Hashem is running the world. You see the other Hashem. Here you see that clearly in this story. Amazing. When you go back to the parasha and you say, what were the brothers jealous for? Why did they want to kill him? Because
his father loved him. His
father loved him. But his father loved all his kids.
He showed it more to Joseph.
Okay, so the pasuk, the Gemara says that don't show favoritism to one son above the others. But what was it that he showed Yosef more?
The coat.
The coat. Okay, so you want a coat? Go buy a coat. You like the stripes, ketonet pasim. That you're jealous of a coat. We're talking about the Shvatim. These are Kedoshei Elyon. These are holy people. I'm jealous of a jacket, even if it's a nice one. How nice can it be ready, So Joe said it, they were jealous of the favoritism they got from the father. I'm sure the father loved all of it. And also the father he learned Torah with Yosef. But also he gave Yosef this Ketonet Pasim. There was something special about the Ketonet Pasim. And you see that Ketonet Pasim. Ketonet Pasim was the stripe, the coat that he got from his father. It's multicolored striped coat they got from his father. It's a special coat. What was special about it? You see that they hated it as soon as they got him into the pit. They just stripped him off the coat. They dipped it in blood. They hated that coat. Why? So
what it resembled.
Okay, so what? It resembled their love from the father gives them. So there's something a bit more than that. And
can I ask
this coat? Yeah, please.
Where was Benjamin when they put him in, when they threw him in the pit? He was his favorite brother.
Yeah. So he was a little boy at that time. Very young. Yeah. Yosef himself was only 17. And I imagine Benjamin being at least 10 years younger. I don't know the exact figures. I just threw that off.
Young.
He was definitely with his father at that time. What I wanted to mention over here is that the Ketonet Pasim was a special coat that bore him chen. Chen is favoritism. When he wore that coat, everyone just loved him. He was a celeb. Wherever he would go, he was charming. He was the charmer. That was the jealousy over there. And they thought all his charm was because of the coat. What was the bracha that Yosef got? Yosef ben Porat Yosef. What does that mean? Khamsa, you always say, good charm. Yosef had charm, chen. Hashem said, you think it's because of the coat. It's not because of the coat. It's because of me. I'm Hashem. I'm deciding who's going to get the chen. And all Yosef is a bli anara. All Yosef have a beautiful charm to them. Yeah, we've got one in the shir over here. There's a charm. There's Ben Porat Yosef.
So that's when we say if someone has a charm, we say Ben Porat Yosef.
Yeah, why? Because we don't want to have on the charm or the beauty or the goodness that they have. Mm-hmm. Now, what I want to say is that all Yosef's suffering in this week's parasha because of the Ketonot Tapasim. That's what got him into Mitzrayim. Now we see, Yosef is being punished. We think that's such a terrible. All these events is terrible. But what was the benefit of it? Why did he have such a roller coaster ride to go down to Mitzrayim? Could have just gone down, if he's going to be king of Egypt, and that's what a setup is, So maybe, build up, be a little like a prime minister of Israel and be an ambassador, and then be maybe an ambassador in Egypt, and then, work your way up, and then be,
it's one thing he didn't.
Okay, but why do you have to be such a roller coaster ride? You have to get sold in a pit and get in prison, and then you go up from the pits. Exactly, okay. So that's a good one there. Now, if you look at this remez, pasim. Ketonet pasim, gematria of pasim is, I think, 190. Let's just work it out. Pei is 80. Samach is 60, that's 140. Yud is 10, that's 150. Mem is 40, that's 190. They were supposed to be in the time for 400 years in Galut. He said because of all the the turmoil that Yosef had because of his Kotonet Pasim, they got sold and imprisoned, and everything that happened because of the jealousy of the Kotonet Pasim. So God took off 190 years from our 400 years, and we were only in Egypt for 210 years. So you see, that was kindness of Hashem. Yosef was suffering, but he was suffering for a reason. Now, when you suffer for a reason, it doesn't feel painful.
Weren't we in Egypt for 400 years?
Right. We were in Egypt for 210 years in slavery. We were decreed to be there for 400. We got a special hanacha discount of 190 years. And according to here, the Rav Chida says because of the Kotonet Pasim, because of the suffering of Yosef. Now, I'm bringing that as a lesson to us. When we suffer for a reason, the suffering becomes much more bearable. Okay, and I'll give you just a few simple examples, right? When you're playing sports, so you're sweating, you're running, you're out of breath. Okay, but it's for a reason. Yeah, you wanna score, you wanna win. Okay, when you're working out in the gym, sometimes it's painful, but it's for a reason. You don't stand work hard for no reason. So whenever there's suffering for a reason, it's much more bearable. When it's for no reason, then the suffering becomes unbearable. And when we understand that all of our suffering, including what we see in this example from Yosef, was for a reason and is to save us much bigger suffering, then it's well worth it. When someone has to, amputate a limb, that's a lot of suffering, but if it's to save his life, it's worth it. He's willing to pay someone for it. So the outlook that we need to look at everything in the world is that everything happens for a reason and for goodness. Okay, maybe we're going to end off with just the last idea and we'll say a story. I'm just trying to decide which part to leave out on this year. When we'll try and get it in. Okay, the Rokeach, the Rav Chida brings a Rokeach. Rokeach was one of the big Talmid Chachamim. The Rav Chida writes about him. He was a big Mekubal, and he was killed. He was actually killed on Leil HaSeder, and his family were all killed. And his daughter and his wife, they fell on his body when they got killed, and they thought he was also dead. And he survived. And when he got out of that, what did he do? He wrote a pirush on a siddur. And he just wrote a Hallel just to thank Hashem. And you see somebody who goes through so much suffering, and he just instead of just like leaving everything, how can Hashem do this to me? He says, no, God's been kind to me, and this is also kind, and I'm going to give thanks to Hashem. He dedicated his life to writing a pirush. There is the Rav Rokeach. Now, one of the things he brings down to Rav Chida, that when a person is in a time of suffering, do you know what's the good thing to get out of the tzara? Is just to mention the good things that their parents have done to them. And in the merit of the good deeds of their parents, they will be saved. That's amazing chidush there. A person is suffering, so listen, Hashem, my mom's done good things, my father did good things, I want to be saved. That's how a person should pray. And he said, that's the Mr. for Yeshua. And he brings a story that as soon as he heard this happened recently, maybe it was this week, he said this, and he said about, there was one little girl that she was in hospital with the illness of she was diagnosed, and the parents didn't know what to do about it. And he mentioned this in the shiur, and he told everyone about her father, how he does good things for Am Yisrael, for Torah, does a lot of things there. And they just spoke about it in the shiur. He said that night, she said she was diagnosed with, and the doctor said, we've got nothing to do. Sometimes you can do some treatment. They reached a stage where they've just lost hope. There's nothing that medically they can do for her. And it's just, counting down the time where we are left. And he said after they spoke about this chut and the merits of their parents, of this girl, that very night, she said it was the first time they had a good sleep at night. She slept through the night, and they saw that there was a big change, and there was a sign of hope. And you just see how it can turn around, just saying good things about the people, bringing up their merits, and that can stand to their credit. I had a few good stories prepared, but I'm just going to leave you with one idea, and maybe leave you this one idea. When we say in Ala Nisim, okay, Ala Nisim, we're saying now for the next 8 days. What do we say? We say Rabim Biyad Ma'atim. The many fell through to the hands of the Mu'at. Okay, Giborim Biyad Chalashim, Rashaim Biyad Tzadikim. That's what we say, that all the Greeks, they fell into the hands of the Hashmonayim. Rabim Biyad Ma'atim, there were many, and we were Me'at. But why does it say Giborim Biyad Chalashim? What mighty warriors been in the hands of the weak? Are we weak?
It depends.
Okay, that's a very clever answer, Joe. Depends. Do you want to explain yourself? Do you want to explain?
Well, yeah, I think that it kind of summarizes it in one sentence, from what I know.
Go on.
And I'm not how the government are the government are dictating.
Okay, well, I'm not talking about the strategy of the war now. Okay, so we've got soldiers and they put their best on the front line. But Am Yisrael, if you look at the Chumash, okay, are we strong or are we weak? Now, you said it depends. Well, look at it. When Yaakov Avinu comes for Rachel, so there's a big war.
Sorry, sorry, I know you say we're not looking at the current situation, but it is the strong in the hand of the weak, the strong army in the hands of the weak government.
Okay, so listen, we believe that all governments are puppets in the hands of God. Okay, that's what we believe in it. Mm-hmm. We've got to do our part. We're playing more on our role as in the army of Hashem. All the power of the army on the front line, depends from how much we're doing on the back line. So when we're studying Torah tonight, we're improving ourselves, we become better people, it gives them power as well. When we mention them in our tefillot, that protects them, saves them, and gives them victory. Now, I want to look at the physical part of the Torah, of the Am Yisrael. Yaakov Avinu, was he strong or was he weak?
very crazy strong.
Guys, speak up, please, man.
Well, I mean, defeating an army of millions would come across as very strong.
Where do you see that by Yaakov Avinu?
He said, Yaakov or Abraham?
Abraham. Okay. Abraham.
Okay, Yaakov, you have to look inside the Midrashim.
Yeah. So,
see,
okay. So you see, on one hand, he was very strong because when he met Rachel, there was a big rock that no one could lift. And they needed to wait till all the shepherds could come together. I don't know how many were there, maybe 10 or 20 of them. And they all had to lift it up together. And
also, technically, if he wrestled with an angel all night, that would be quite strong.
That's true.
Okay, so I want to speak about this and speak about the strength of Am Yisrael. When we say Am Yisrael, what's the strength of Am Yisrael? So on one hand, you see Yaakov was very strong, that he just popped it off that whole rock by himself, like you just open a bottle. Usually you need 20 people to lift it. No, I don't know if you go to the gym. How much weight can you lift on your own? How many weights can 20 people lift? That's a lot of heavy weights. Okay, you're looking at a lot of at least 1,000 kilos. Yeah, no one can lift 1,000 kilos. 2,000 kilos, no one can lift that. You can lift a tractor. You can't lift a tractor. So Yaakov Avinu just popped it off. So obviously he was very strong. But on the other hand, you see when Esav is coming along, he's petrified. Yaakov is scared. Yaakov is scared of Esav. Now let's go again. Yehuda, when he goes to Yosef, his first confrontation, he says, Kamocha keparo. I'm taking you on, I'll take on also your Paro. You and Paro, I can take you single-handedly. So he's boasting strength. At the same time, you see that when the goblet of Binyamin, when it's found, the goblet of Yosef in the bag of Binyamin, and they're taken capture, they all rip their clothes and they start crying. So what are you crying about? Well, you're strong, man. Just knock him out. And you see this a lot of times. Sometimes they're strong, sometimes they're weak, sometimes they're scared. Giborim biad chalashim. Also, they're Maccabim. How many were there? A handful of them, wise men fighting against the Greek army. So the underlying message is, where is our strength from? Our strength comes from Hashem. Hashem fights for us when we are with Him. When we've done good, we've got nothing to fear. When we've done something wrong or haven't done good enough, not doing our job, then we're very scared. And that Yaakov was only scared of Esav's mitzvot. He wasn't scared of himself. He was really scared of his mitzvot. Yehuda, when they saw that Binyamin took the goblet, okay, they saw it as a sign from God. When it's a sign from God, they need to be scared. When we stand together and we know we're doing the right thing in Hashem's eyes, we've got nothing to be scared of. You can 1,000 on your left, 10,000 on your right. Hashem will fight you. That's giborim biyad chalashim. We can be very weak, but we know if God is with us, we're going to be protected. That is a miracle of Chanukah. Hashem was with us always. We got to remember that we're lighting for Hashem, and we've got to teach this to our children as well. God did miracles for us in those days. God will do miracles for us now. This is the best time to teach your children about war. Esav Sonei Yaakov. We are the center of the world. The Maccabees fought, and Hashem helped them, and Hashem was going to help us as well. And we got to remember always that Hashem is helping us. Maybe one thing you see when Yosef got punished for an extra 2 years in prison, just because he asked the butler to remind him to remember him and mention his name to Paro. And it was for those 2 days. For the first day he came, he was just sad. He had a dream, and then the next 2 days he said, "Listen, you're getting out in 3 days." So he was just waiting for 2 days. I said, "What do you mean you're waiting? Why not praying to God? You're getting punished for doing Hishtadlut. You're supposed to do Hishtadlut. You're in prison, comes along someone who's going to get out. Of course you should mention it. That's Hishtadlut. But we've got to remember, what is our Hishtadlut? Our Hishtadlut is, we've got to have an army, we've got to invest in it, and have a good army. But we can't not pray. Our strength is not in the army. strength is in God. We have to pray for the protection of the army, for the success of the army. And Yosef was punished an extra 2 years in prison because he was just waiting around for 2 days. The butler is going to mention him to Paul. So what do you do? Hashem can save you now. I don't have to wait for 2 days for Hashem to save you. Because it could be one way of doing it. But we got to pray for Hashem that Hashem fights us this war. They should all kill themselves. Why do we have to go and risk our own soldiers and our own family and our cousins they need to fight? Let them fight themselves. There's a corrupted system which was within. So I'd just like to leave the message of all the lessons that we learned today. We started off talking about how Hashem is existence, and Hashem is behind everything, and we see Hashem's actions in the world. Then we said about how we light the candles of Hanukkah before the candles of Shabbat because we got to see the light within the darkness. We said how the whole parasha is Vai, Vai, Vav, Vav, Vav. And how we see that all the hand of Hashem, apart from 8 psukim, which is not Vai. And you got to point out the good part and think that's Hashem. I just remember the story of the couple that didn't have children because they had a grudge against them. And those who didn't forgive and they bear the grudge. You got to let go. Let go. Don't blame people. Don't blame your workers. Don't blame your family. Don't blame your wife. Don't blame your kid. Hashem is doing good things. Look at the good part and thank Hashem. Let's remember Yosef, all the jealousy was because of a coat. It wasn't a coat. Hashem gave him the chen. Let's remember that the chen is from Hashem, and everything is actually from Hashem. Let's remember to mention the good deeds of our parents in tefillah. And remember that we have the neshama, and our neshama is ner. Ner is neshama, nefesh, and the ruach. Our neshama is what prays, and that gives power to Am Yisrael. And that's the power of the strength of the Maccabim. Mila Hashem Elai. If you're with Hashem, Hashem is with me. And let's just pray, just like we saw the miracles of Hanukkah in those days, Hashem fought for us. We'll see also the miracles also nowadays. And I hope you all enjoyed this share. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening. Wish you all a happy Hanukkah. Thank you, Joe, for your question. And Avi, thank you for your questions and for your answer. And I wish you all a Chag Sameach. Shabbat Shalom.
Thanks, Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.